I've been lucky enough to be given 2 opportunities to do one-off races this year in genuine Porsche Boxster race cars. But what's different about what the guys at Rindt are offering versus perhaps others is this is an arrive and drive service. The reality is, if you want to go racing, the biggest expense by a country mile is the race car itself, where it can cost you 6 figures to put together a really well sorted car from scratch. Also, it takes a lot of time in both build and development, which of course can be exacerbated if you're doing it for the first time. An arrive and drive concept therefore takes away the lion's share of the expense, which opens up the possibility of dipping a toe into racing for a lot of people.
We get people their odds, a bit like we're doing with you, and then we'll get you out in a race. We're trying to just get people to understand that you don't have to be a multi-millionaire to go racing and have some fun in a Porsche.
So what we'd like to know today is, can the everyman go racing? Welcome back to Novices TV. It's part 2 of our Rindt race experience, and it's race day.
Arriving nice and early at Thruxton for our day of racing, our mantra was simply to have fun. The Rindt team of Bubs, Brian and Tony had prepped the Boxster prior, so all that was left to do was check fuel, tyre pressures and get me reacclimatised to the car and comfortable behind the wheel. After the driver's briefing, more on that later, teams were called to the collecting area for qualifying. The Boxster, one of 3 Porsches in a very mixed lineup for our series. After final checks, I was on my own and the signal was given for me to enter the circuit and get our day underway. It's fair to say it was a slow and cautious start to qualifying, but before long I'd settled and began to enjoy the adventure, even revelling in my front row view of a stunning 74 RSR as it popped and banged its way around the UK's fastest circuit.
Wowzers, so just back from qualifying, the Boxster is there, as you can see. Thoughts from the everyman doing their first race. So really good like buzz around the paddock, everyone's like super friendly, cheerful and just like excited for a weekend of racing as it is here for Classic Sports Car Club. Driver's briefing, electric atmosphere, you could feel the excitement in the room, that was really good. The people explaining the rules and logistics, how things are going to work, again super friendly, super upfront. For myself as a rookie, I had to attend an extended driver's briefing just to run over a few little bits and pieces. Stellar bit of advice given in the driver's briefing, which I think is worth passing on, and it's basically turn up today and bring the car home, try and bring the car home a bit quicker next time and just build into it. And that's kind of the point, is you're kind of running your own race really, rather than trying to compete with others straight away. That'll only end in tears. It wasn't like really daunting and intimidating. Again, really it seems like a really good friendly bunch. Whether that's with every series or not, I don't know. So yeah, honestly, amazing experience so far. I think it was BMW, dropped some diff oil at the chicane just before the start-finish line. Janetta span and went off, so you know it's a bit of a reminder that these things happen, sometimes out of your control. But for the very, very, very first experience of going racing, loved it. And yeah, as I say now, I've just got to wait until race time.
Tony and Bubs had the car prepped while my co-driver Brian got himself ready to do the first stint. I would be taken over halfway through. With Brian in place, our team made our way to the pits and the experience got very real when our names were read out on the tannoy during the announcement of the grid to spectators.
Row 11, we've got number 13, Brian Richardson to start, and Lee Sibley will take over, so that's 30.
The race was soon underway, and with the sheer variety of cars, it was clear we'd be a backmarker to proceedings. However, it was great to watch the Boxster in action, and before long, the board went out for Brian to come in. It was my turn. The rules stipulated a 2-minute pit stop between the lights, which meant an agonising wait inside the Boxster with just my own thoughts for company as I prepared to go out on track. And then, go. My first foray into a live race. How are your nerves, Sibs? And so here's some highlights from my stint. As you can see, there's a lot to think about. You need to consider your inputs and be fast, of course, but more importantly, you need to be decisive. Whether it's going for a gap or giving a bit of room to a much faster car, your decision making is critical to being safe, and that really is the cornerstone of proceedings. Vision is also key. you need your eyes permanently on stalks, watching not only your line but how that interacts with other competitors, both in front of you and as a back marker behind too. If it sounds overwhelming, it shouldn't be. I felt like I entered into a hyper alert mode, aware of every drop of information being fed to me by the car, the track, competitors and marshals, dealing with that information every split second to ensure I was as fast as I can be, but also as safe as I can be too. Rather than overwhelming, it was invigorating, enthralling, giving a buzz like no other. All too soon, the checkered flag was out and I completed my first ever race.
So I can only hope you can see us just post-race out the GoPro. Oh my God, drugs, sheer drugs. What an experience. So we split the race 30 minutes, so divided by 2:15. It was probably enough for me actually. There's a lot to think of, a lot to concentrate on. Some laps were good, some laps weren't so good. It's kind of the nature of the beast really, but oh my God, what an experience. I'm sitting here in Parc Ferme, just waited to be released, and I'm already thinking, wow, how on earth can I do this again? What an amazing, amazing experience. For 15 minutes, I was Mark Webber, Nick Tandy, Walter Roll, Vic Elford, Derek Bell, the list goes on and on. To my mind, for 15 minutes, I was them. Fantastic, I recommend it to anybody.
Racing over, let's meet the team that made it happen.
You are the man that makes everything happen behind the scenes, in terms of car prep and looking after the cars on the day, is that right?
Me and a couple of other guys.
Yeah, okay, so give us a bit of detail in terms of like what that entails.
Basically, making sure that everything on the vehicle is nice and tight, make sure the car is prepped and ready for the race, and that we're all ready to go on race day, and to make sure during race day that the car runs and survives, basically.
I have to say, you've made my life a lot easier, because in the interim between like qualifying and the race, I kind of felt guilty. I just sat back really. You kind of took care of everything, which was nice, you know.
What my job is.
Yeah.
As well as being a driver for tomorrow, that would be great.
Well, this is it. So, you know, we were talking off camera that Brian has put through you the same course that I've been through. So you and I did our arts together, which was nice. But it kind of means that there is a bit more of a connection, I suppose, between car and mechanic. There's a bit more empathy for like the driver on the other side of the wall.
Yeah, get to know both sides of the story.
Yeah.
Being a driver and a mechanic, so yeah, get to know both worlds.
And how did today, because you're on tomorrow, you're on Sunday, so how did like, today's experience like make you feel ahead of tomorrow?
Well, I'm eager to get out for tomorrow. Really want to get out now. After seeing obviously you two guys, and this is a good track. Been around it a fair few times now, so yeah, looking forward to it.
Cracking. Well, look, thank you so much. You prepped an awesome car for me this weekend.
You're welcome.
I'm really grateful. So, Bubs, thank you very much.
No problem.
Brian, I want to start by shaking your hand and saying thank you so much.
Well done, you've done a great job. First race, smile ear to ear, and the car's in one bit.
Everybody's a winner.
Everybody's a winner. For your first race, that's different gravy. You've done really, really well. First 6, you just got to get signatures. So, you know, nobody starts grassroots racing and wins. Doesn't happen. So we've all got to learn. And in that sort of class, that's a quick class. So we were sort of middle to the end, but we actually made up places. And, you know, it's just a lot of fun, isn't it? You can see why I enjoy it now.
Oh, big time. And I said at the start of the video, what I love about it is it's getting everybody who wants to go.
Yeah, you can get out there. Yeah.
You know? You're building cars for other classes and
other
competitions
we are.
As well.
Yeah, so we're going to do Boxster Cup, we're going to do 911 Challenge, we're building a wide-bodied RSR 964 for that. We're going to get Colin Tester to race that for us this year. We've got Class 2 cars, Class 3 cars. So by the end of the year we'll have 2 trucks, nice awnings, you know, somewhere to change that isn't outside. And we'll have a bit of fun, you know, but the idea is to get people into grassroots racing and realise that, you know, yes, it is expensive, but it's not arm and a leg expensive. And if you're careful, you can have a lot of fun out there. You know, I mean, when we came and opened the door on you, the smile was ear to ear, you know, and that's what you want. That's the whole idea of it. It makes all the prep and what Bubs and all the boys do, makes it worthwhile when you know, that was the first start I've done, you know, as a standing start. And the adrenaline's just ridiculous. It's huge fun. So, you know, if 20 minutes a day, that's lovely.
And there we have it then. I was going to record this conclusion another day once emotions and adrenaline had calmed down. I'm on my way home from Thruxton, still in my race gear actually, might as well get my money's worth. But look, I decided it'd be a good time to roll the camera now while I have that emotion, and kind of I've had a little bit of kind of period of reflection, but the adrenaline and just that buzz from racing is still very much evident, and I think it's important to convey that, to show just how fun racing is. As I said at the top of the video and in part one, you know, I'd like to think I represent the everyman and woman. I wasn't brought up around race cars or, you know, racing or karting or anything like that. Always been an ambition, but a distant one. The perception of it is very daunting and very costly. There's no getting away from it. Racing is costly indeed. And yeah, you know, even the arrive and drive kind of concept isn't a walk in the park financially, but it takes away a hell of a lot of financial burden in buying, modifying and running a race car. That is the lion's share of expenditure. The funny thing is, and this is how much I enjoyed myself, I've just kind of realised I don't actually know where we finished. I know we started on row, I think it was 8 on the grid. It was a very varied grid, lots of all sorts of machinery on there, including our humble Boxster. I know we made up a couple of places in the race because Brian told me, but the reality is I do not care one little bit where we finished, because I had so much fun. Working around Porsches and driving Porsches on road and track for the last 11 years, obviously I'm well aware of the famous quote by Steve McQueen that racing is life and everything else, well, it's just waiting. I have to say, after doing that racing today, I fully get that statement. I fully get it. I appreciated it beforehand. I completely comprehend it now, completely. The buzz you get from racing, you don't think about anything else. So look, it's bucket list stuff. It's not as daunting as you might think. The take-home message is do it. You can do it. Thank you very much for watching. If you have had half as much fun watching this as I have doing the driving, you've had an astounding time. Thanks very much to Brian, to Bubs, to Andrea and the entire team at Rindt Vehicle Design. You have given me the most amazing experience, and I am certain you'll be doing the same for many more enthusiasts like me. And that's it. I'll see you in another video soon, on road or who knows, maybe a racetrack.